There we are. Hello, hello, hello. Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the show. Like we have a good show for you tonight. A lot of people think that motivation is something that just comes and goes, but that's not true. You can actually train your brain, train your body, train your life to achieve anything that you want. So stay tuned because we're going to share with you some of the tips on how to do just that. If you are new to the channel, I am Dr. Dwayne Wood. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. And here on the channel, we help to educate, we help to empower, we help to encourage you to take charge of your life, take charge of your health, avoid complications, and go to the next level. That's what we do here on the channel. This is our anniversary month, and I am so excited. We are doing a live stream every day in August. Lita, right? So this is day number 9, and you see that up on the screen. Where over? Is it over there or that side? Right over here, right there. So live every day. And we've been having a great time. We have been working on this series, and this is the 5th installment of a series that we're calling Designing a New Me, right? Designing a New Me. And tonight specifically, we are talking about motivation. Right? So how to stay motivated for change. If you're new to the channel, go ahead and put new in the comments. If you're watching us on Facebook or LinkedIn or Twitter or any of those other platforms, we'd love to hear from you as well. Go ahead and put a Q if you're here on Facebook, on YouTube, a Q and a colon in the question. In the comment, and we'll know that that's a question that we need to take care of and we need to look at, right? If you're over on the other, we'll kind of look over there to see who's there with us and bring those questions over and in as we go through the show tonight. So motivation, right? We all know that feeling. I know that feeling, right? You're pumped up, right? We've been doing this on this show. And so you're pumped up. We've been doing a couple of shows and you're ready, right? You're ready to take action and the world is out there and you want to do it. Your wildest dreams are open to you. But then a few days later, that initial burst of motivation starts to wear off, the shine starts to fade, and you find yourself struggling to keep going. Does that sound familiar? I know I've had that going on with me. If you're struggling to stay motivated, don't worry. You are not alone. That's the beauty of what we do, right? We're in a community. You're not alone. We all have times when it's hard to keep going, but there are some things you can do to give yourself a boost. So motivation, what is motivation? It's one of those funny things, right? It's what drives us to do the things that we do, whether we're conscious of it or not. It's what gets us out of the bed in the morning. It keeps us up all night working on that project. Have you ever had that project? Yeah, my son and I like Legos. And I remember one night I decided I was going to build this Lego table. It's going to be, it's 8 feet by 4 feet, 2 levels, right? Solid wood. And I stayed up for 3 days, I think, making that thing. Yeah, because it was just, it was just that thing. And yet for all the power that motivation has, it's often very elusive, right? But even when it seems impossible to find, motivation is always right there, waiting to be found, waiting for you to find it. And so we're going to spend some time talking about some tips and tricks that we can use to stay motivated, right? So, Let's see. Do I tell this story yet? So motivation is what gives us power, right? It is what gives us the drive. Maybe it's simply a desire to keep moving forward, even when the road seems uncertain. Or maybe it's the belief that anything is possible if we will just try. Either way, motivation is what makes us who we are, and there's nothing more powerful than the motivation that's driven by something. So what are your must-haves? We talked last night about setting goals, SMART goals. If you look at those goals, we asked you to write next to them the why. What is the motivation? What is the thing behind it, right? So what is your goal? What do you have a clear purpose, right? Let me pop this over here, right? Oops. So I think I'm supposed to. Yeah, must-haves. There you go. Right. So do you have a clear purpose? It's easy to stay motivated. It's easy to do those things when you have a motivation. So what are your must-haves? You might think that you want to accomplish, these goals, but what about the choices you have to make when things get in the way? Like that feeling you get, right? When you know you should be doing something that's on the path to your goal, but it just feels so good outside to be in the sun, to be at the beach, right? To watch that movie, right? You're on this weight management trek, but that cookie looks so good, or that ice cream looks so good. Look over those goals that you've written again. The things that we did. Do those reasons that are written next to them, do they inspire you? If they do, great. If they don't, they're not must-haves. I would much rather you have 3 must-haves, 1 must-have, than to have 10 wishy-washy goals. And so often that's what happens. We take goals and we say, okay, I want to do this. I should do this. I want to do this. I've been wanting to do that, right? And they really have no support. Remember, our brain, our body, our mind will find evidence to support anything that we tell it. Anything that we tell it, the brain will find evidence to support. So if we're really not into this goal, if it's not a must-have, then the brain says, oh, yeah, he's not really, this is not really what he wants to do. She's really not into that, right? The reason why people don't stay focused and why they don't have more success is that they don't have must-haves. They just have nice-to-haves. Oh, it'll be nice to have that. It would be nice to lose weight. It would be nice to have a new job. It would be nice to have written that book. It would be nice to have spoken to that guy, that gal. It would be nice to, but it's not a must-have. Those goals are not going to get you up in the morning. They're not going to keep you up late at night, like my table, right? So if they're must-haves, great. But if they're not, either the goal is not enough, it's not big enough, it's not compelling enough, or the why is not compelling. And so often we talk to people about a couple of things, right? What happens, and I mentioned this last night, what happens if we don't achieve that goal? What does that look like for me in my life? What does that look like for the people around me? And if I do accomplish that goal, if I get there, man, what does that do for me? What does my life look like? What does that feel like? So the goal has to be compelling enough. The why has to be compelling. It has to be a must-have. A nice-to-have is nice to have, but it's not going to do the things that we need. And sometimes with the goals, we have to take action. So you can't keep talking about the goal, right? So remember, we're doing SMART goals, right? Take action. Don't just talk about it. So SMART goals: specific, measurable, achievable, related, reliable, relevant, and time-based. And sometimes you may have to chunk that goal. What does that mean? That means that we break the goal up into smaller chunks. So if you want to write a book and your goal is to write a book about your life, your trip through medical school, your recovery from alcohol, your recovery from a broken relationship, your recovery from an abusive relationship, your finding a new job. If you want to write a book, I'm going to write a book in the next year about blah, blah, blah. And so now, okay, we start breaking it up. Okay, we're going to write an introduction, right? We got some chapters that we talk about how we went about doing it. We talk about the struggles that we had. We talk about some of the obstacles, right? So notice what we're doing. We're taking that book and we're breaking it into chunks, into smaller goals so that we can achieve it. But we're not just talking about it. We're not just having these philosophical conversations. We're taking action. You want to climb? Let's go climbing. So it has to be. You have to take action. You got to make a plan in this action, right? Having a plan of action can help you stay on track and prevent you from getting overwhelmed. Remember, we're talking about how do we stay motivated. So we found our why. The why is going to drive us. Now we've taken action and we have a plan. Break it into those smaller steps. Now, one of the reasons for breaking it into smaller steps as well is as you achieve those steps, you get a boost. That's why someone, when they lose 1 pound, right? Their goal is to lose 20 pounds, but they lost 1 pound. They're like, oh, I can do this, right? They keep going. Because the body likes that. The body wants that. The body needs that. The mind needs that. The brain needs that. So make a plan, take action. A goal is like a destination, right? It's something you strive to reach, but not like a destination spot. You can't just book a flight and show up. You have to put the work in to get there. That's why it's important to break it down into those smaller, more manageable steps. By breaking it down, the trip, the journey, it doesn't seem as big, as large. So can you imagine? Okay, I'm going to write a book in the next year. I mean, that huge. So my brain is right, goes into a spasm. But I'm going to write 5 pages, 2 pages, 10 pages today, per day. I'm going to write 5 pages. 5 pages per day, 365 days a year. Boom. How about that? Because you've broken it down. And when you get those 5 pages for today, whoo, you get a big boost. Your brain is like, yes, we can do this. So tomorrow, come on, bring it on. Let's get those next 5 pages. Let's keep rolling. And it may even be tempting to stay up and do the tomorrow's pages today, right? Because boom, there we go. So if you're looking to achieve something big, remember to take it one step, small steps at a time. Small steps at a time. Because if you do that, then we get more success. The next thing is find your tribe. What does that mean? What does that mean? That means that you surround yourself with people who understand what you're going through, who can offer support, encouragement. If you have a network that's surrounding you, it makes it so much easier to stay motivated. I remember I was telling somebody recently, I used to go to the gym early in the morning and had a couple of people that went with me. And I remember one morning it was so cold. It was so cold. And I really didn't want to go. And I just wanted to clean my glasses here. If I could find my rag. I didn't want to go because it was cold. And I called up one of the people that were going with me and I said, hey, I don't feel like going today. And she said, okay, let's not go. And you know what happened? For months after that, we didn't go to the gym. We didn't get up. We didn't go. So it's so important to have people around you that support you, that will encourage you. So when you don't want to go, right? Come on. No. We're doing this. We're not just hanging out. We're getting out there. We are going to go to the gym, right? Oh, you said that you were going to write 5 pages today. Did you write those 5 pages? You said that you were going to do a video every day for 31 days in August. How is it going? What can I do to help you? Find a support group. Find a mentor who can help keep you accountable. So important to have that structure, have that support. And by all means, avoid comparing yourself to other people. Comparison is a killer of motivation. Oh, well, he's this far along. He's that far along. He's this far along, right? I'll tell you about this channel, right? This show that we do. I remember when we first started, did our first couple of videos, and I was like, oh man, this is great. And I started looking at other people. I was like, man, in a month, his videos are gone. Like 1,000 people. Oh, look at that. He's at 500 subscribers. He's at 1,000 subscribers. Oh my God, look at that. 5,000 subscribers. And I'm just at. So easy. And it kills motivation. Do you know that I read an article, I think it was on LinkedIn somewhere, and they were saying that looking at social media status, looking at your likes and your followers, is causing depression. Because people are out there, they're looking, oh, nobody liked me today. Nobody saw me. Nobody liked my post. Nobody did this for me. Comparison does not work. It does not support doing and being motivated. It does not support your goal, your destination. Remember, we're heading somewhere. We're building a new us. We're building a new me. All of this is in there. And we can't allow anything around us to detract from that. We're building a new me, right? So find your tribe. Surround yourself with people who are going to support you and push you forward. The next thing is to set up a reward system. Give yourself something to look forward to. Oh, when I write 50 pages, I'm going to, I was going to get some Ben & Jerry's ice cream. You guys heard my story about that, right? Okay, maybe I'll have to tell it another time. Or you can go back and watch one of our other videos. Right? So whatever the reward is, okay? Once you reach that milestone, treat yourself to something special. A new book, a day at the spa, taking some time with yourself. Have something to look forward to that will help you stay focused and motivated. Because all work and no play makes, right? Yeah, you've heard the saying. Yeah, when you're grinding, let's grind. Let's do it. Right? When you're doing your thing, yeah, let's get out there. And let's do what we do. When we're writing, let's write. When we're videoing, let's video. When we're going out and we're networking, let's go out and let's network. And when we've reached a certain point in that, set a goal, set something, a milestone. Remember we talked about making it measurable. And so as we're breaking up these little chunks, when we get to that chunk, when we get to that part, boom, let's reward ourselves. Because then the brain's like, whoo, let's do it. Let's get to the next milestone. But if it's like, okay, when the book is done, then we'll reward ourselves. Yeah, you're like, let's see. And plus, right, we're going to talk about that in another video. Plus, what about the day when you don't write the 5 pages? Something came up, and those days are going to happen. So what brings you back and what helps you stay in that space, in the mindset of being motivated to do what you do? right? So reward yourself. Give yourself the opportunity to experience some joy so that you're not waiting until after everything is done, right? The next thing is practice self-compassion and celebrate your successes, no matter how small, right? We talked about celebration a minute ago, but self-compassion. Give yourself grace. No, you didn't do 5 pages today, but you did 4. No, you didn't. I don't know. You didn't lose the weight that you were supposed to this week, but you didn't put any on. So you ate the cookie when you think you shouldn't have eaten the cookie. Give yourself grace for that. Okay, it happened. Now, okay, let's move on. Let's get back on it. But so often when we get into that situation, we beat ourselves up. And we are the worst critics. We're the worst critics. Other people can criticize, but we're so hard on ourselves. So give yourself some grace. Allow for life to happen. Remember, we're heading somewhere, right? Because we're designing a new us. We're building a new us. We're getting better. We're growing. We're expanding. But we are learning on the way. We're learning how to be different, how to think different, how to respond differently. And as I've said before, when you show up wherever you're heading, the person that you bring with you is a different person if you've done the work. I was I'm gonna give a shout out to one of the people that I listen to and I follow, Doc Rock. I follow him. I follow Kirk Nugent, Luria Petrucci, and I was on Doc's watching his show one day, and he said an interesting thing. And Doc, you said this, and I actually stopped watching your show for a while. Not because it made me mad, but it challenged me to go do some stuff. And Doc said, he asked the audience, he said, all of you guys, you're out there and you want to blow up. You want to be the best. You want everybody watching your show, watching your video. He said, are you prepared for that? He said, suppose I gave you a platform right now, right at this moment. Are you ready to be there? Are you ready to be in the platform? Do you have all your ducks in a row? And I thought about that thing. And so I went back and I started watching. I started learning. I said, okay, all right, I got it. I said, let me get myself, let me get my stuff, let me get my things well. So that when I arrive, when I show up, I'm ready. I'm ready for the opportunity when it comes. Now, that doesn't mean that you're not growing and that you're not putting yourself out there, right? Whatever it is, you're not like hiding it in the back somewhere. But that means you are working to get better so that when you get there, when you arrive, when you show up, you've learned all the things you needed to have learned to be in that space. Whatever the space is. And I know I keep talking about this book and so forth, but whatever your thing is, right? That relationship that you are working on, that relationship that was broken by whatever, and we're rebuilding that relationship. Everybody wants to, like, okay, something happened and I want to be 10 years down the road, like everything is done. What have you learned? Because if you're back in the situation, guess what? It's the same old you. You haven't learned anything. You haven't improved. You haven't expanded. So you got to do the work. You have to do the work. And then find out what works for you? We talked about rewards. I was supposed to be moving these slides. Find out what works for you. Let me go back to this one, right? So this was the one to celebrate, right? Right? Practice self-compassion and celebrate, right? That's the one that was supposed to be up there. But you guys saw me the whole time. I was just talking. But that's okay. That's okay. I'm a good-looking fella, right? But find out what works. Because ultimately, that's it. Staying motivated is an internal thing. All the things around you can support that. But a lot of it is in here. And so as you're looking to stay motivated, what works for me? What works for you may not work for me. One of the things that the community did early on, and I think I logged on one or two times, was they had a work hour or time where somebody just started a Zoom and you came in the Zoom and you worked. We didn't talk. It wasn't a show. It wasn't people talking about their content. It was a dedicated time where you sat down and you did some work. And that worked for me. Right? So you're sitting there. This is the time for this. That may not work for other people. Getting up in the morning to go to the gym. If we're talking about wellness and weight and exercise, that works for some people. It doesn't work for everybody. Not everybody's a morning person. Maybe going at night after work works. Maybe coming home and getting your stuff and going to the gym or walking around the block or going out in your garage with your weight set and your gym, whatever you've built out there. That works for some people. Some people can't come home because if they know if they come home, that's it. They're done. They're not going back out. That day is shot. Going back to writing that book, maybe those pages have to be written with you sitting under a tree somewhere. Because if you come home, your brain is caught up in everything that's going on at the house. And nothing. So you got to find what works for you. And what works for you is different from somebody else. There are some general principles, and we've gone through those, but it doesn't work for everybody. Find out what works. Stop doing what doesn't work. If every day you're in the same spot, you're in the same place, and you're not doing the thing you're supposed to do, then don't keep doing that. Realize, hey, that's why the community, that's why the support is so important, right? Because sometimes we get into our minds and we think that we're doing okay. But then the community gets the challenge, like, hey, you were supposed to be doing this, or let's go do this, right? So there's this back and forth, and this is not somebody who's necessarily beating you over the head. Maybe you do need that, right? That's why I talked about a mentor or coach. You need an immovable, and I think this is how Kurt Nugent put it. You said you need an immovable standard. Somebody's going to say, okay, this is what we said we're going to do this week. Did you do that? Right? You need that around you. So stop doing the things that don't work. Start doing the things that do work. Find what works for you. And then remember, the reason that we're doing all we're doing, because we are designing, we are building a new us. We're building a new us. So don't forget that you are worth it. That you're worth it. And all that we do, all that we say, is with the intention of making our lives better. Remember that. That's the point of all that we're doing. And you remember the wheel of life that we went through? The reason that we went through the wheel of life was to find those places in our lives that we want to work on, that we want to make better. And after all, why would we make it better if we weren't worth it? You owe it to yourself. You owe it to your family. You owe it to those around you. You owe it to the community. There are people that are out there that don't know. There are people that are out there that don't know certain things because you haven't yet taught them. What? Can you imagine that? They're waiting for the new you. That's the beauty of this. So remember, right? To stay motivated. And that's what we're talking about. You have to have those must-haves. What's your reason? Why are you doing the things that you're doing? Okay? Take action. Don't just let time go by. Don't just talk about your goals. Get into them. Make a plan. Work the plan. Find your tribe. Surround yourself with people who are going to keep you accountable. You have to do that. Reward yourself. Find those times when you can break those milestones, get those little milestones so that you can do the things that you need to do. Celebrate, and be kind to yourself. Don't do the things that aren't working. Find the things that work specifically for you. Take what you can from other people and implement them in your life. And then finally, understand that you are worth it. And sometimes in that moment when you are feeling like, okay, my motivation is going, that thought can help you. That I'm worth it. It's worth me not doing that thing, eating that cookie, worth me not going to sleep or going to hang out this time because I've got a thing that I've got to do right now that's taking me to my goal. I'm so excited that you guys have been here with me tonight. This is day number 9, and we are heading to the next day, day number 10. Thank you for being here. This is Dr. Dwayne Wood. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. And here we help to educate. We help to empower you. We help to encourage you. Take charge of your health and your life. Avoid complications. Go to the next level and get that life that you've always wanted. Thank you for being here. Good night. We'll see you tomorrow. And it's actually just right after midnight now here in Central Time Zone. Let's get some music and let's get out of here.